y'all, it's MxRheyRhey. Welcome to Art Talk. It is exactly like my previous Watercolor Wednesdays, except now, from now on, it's probably only going to be one video a week here on Wednesdays still, and it's not always going to be watercolor. As you know, I like to do other things. I like to do abstract acrylics. I like to do oil pastels. I like to do oil painting sometimes. But because as I've said previously in other videos, my life is going to get crazy in a few months, and leading up to then, I'm going to have to make some changes to the channel. Art Talk is just one of those changes. It's exactly the same thing as Watercolor Wednesdays, it's just not always going to be watercolor. But today, oh jeez, almost threw my fidget toy out of the closet that's closed. Anyway, so today what I am showing you guys is sort of my process on how I get my watercolor prints done for my Etsy shop. It's a bit of a process. This is actually one of the nicer ones that I've done, but I'm just gonna let you guys know on the process. I skipped the sketching part of this just because you couldn't really see it on camera. It was light pencil and everything, and I need to start getting these videos down to below 15 minutes to save on time for that craziness I told you previously it was just going to happen. So today, this print is going to be of the fantasy genre because that is something I actually really love to do. It's not something I see a lot of, like watercolor fantasy landscapes. And I'm just going to let you guys know now, before it's even 3 minutes in, trust the process. Please, I really like how this comes out at the end. You won't actually, you think you'll know what it's going to look like, and then by the end, it kind of doesn't. So please just stick to the end to see if you really want to see how this ends and the final cut and everything. This print will be on sale on my Etsy shop on Friday. So the link for my Etsy shop is in the description down below if you want to keep an eye on that. But yeah, so my process for prints, even though it is the beginning, so I guess it's a good scale for myself later in life, and I'll get to look back and see how I've changed things and everything. But yeah, this is pretty much the beginning process of how I decide what prints are going to be up on my shop. I do thumbnail sketches previously that you guys don't see. I do the watercolor process first. I put it in the scanner, and depending on whether I like the painting itself, I will do maybe some touch-up on it in Photoshop. I have pretty much all of my software on my laptop is free. So it's not a lot of touch-up. I have to make sure that the painting I do is actually good, and the scan that I have is done, very good quality, high quality scan. But yes, I make my painting, I scan it, put it in my computer, Photoshop it so that the scan itself is the same, will print out the same size as the painting that I made. I don't like the idea of making the prints bigger than what I painted, just because I don't want the quality of the painting to diminish as I have someone else print it out. I don't have the technology or the money to print out my own paintings to sell. I have to get that outsourced by a very awesome company called Glee. I cannot pronounce it, but I'll put the text up on the screen now for you to know. GisleyToday.com. They do my prints for me, and I really like the quality. I did a test. I paid for a test printout for myself just to make sure that the quality of prints that I send out will be what I like, and the one that I got was not this print, it was the one previous or not, no, it was the first print that I put on my Etsy shop, which was just an urban sketch painting of like a lake at this park a few miles away from where I live. I lost my fidget toy. No, where'd it go? There it is. Okay, it was under my laptop. But yeah, so I get those outsourced. This one I had to do a little bit of touch-up, as you guys will see. I show you guys the touch-up that I do, mostly because, as you can see, that moon, it's kind of sad. It's kind of a sad moon. So I do touch that up on my computer. Besides Photoshop, which is not, it's called, I think it's called Photoscape. I have a MacBook. I got it because of school, like the school sent it to me. It was part of my tuition. And so Photoscape is the free Photoshop that I get here on my MacBook. So I use Photoscape to scale everything, make sure it is a sharpened image, make sure the borders are where they need to be. And then for this particular painting, I do go into an art program. Again, it is free because the ones that I got with my tablet were all trial programs. And as much as I think I would have liked them, I didn't have enough time to learn how to use them properly within my trial period. So I just got a free art program that I was familiar with, which was the Autodesk Sketchbook. It's a program that I know how to use. I have it on my iPad. It's easy for me to learn, and I can get the image in my head onto the painting that is on the program. So that's just what works for me. If you guys have other programs like Procreate is a very popular program. Bam, there we go. Switched from painting to digital. Side note, tangent, backtrack, there we go. I really thought that the painting was done before I scanned it, but then I go into there and I realize the scanner kind of dulled the painting a bit. Like just the colors itself I thought were more saturated in person than they looked digitally, so that's why I'm in here in Sketchbook. Making the colors pop, kind of giving it an extra texture, some more depth with the shadows. I really do love how this painting came out. Even while I was painting it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so neat. I haven't done a proper like dragon painting in a long time. Technically, I was looking up sea serpents when I was doing the reference for the sea serpent in this photo, but you know, some people think sea serpents are dragons. It's all up into interpretation and lore. So, for this fantasy landscape, it is a sea serpent, and I'm really happy with how everything came out. I want to continue kind of working with this style of painting. I think sort of like the sketchiness and the watercolor can really fit like the style that I want to go for in the future, because I have, if you don't know, I consider myself a storyteller. I love telling stories. I'm working on this whole universe that will have millions of stories in it, and the style I'm working with now and are working towards in the future is really more of like a sketchy traveler journal type look, and this is just it's a really good idea of how it will pretty much look in the future. Obviously, like, there's going to be things that will improve. I will get better at like straight line, like I will always improve. You always improve the more you paint or draw or anything of that nature. So it's not always going to look like this, but I think it's a really good milestone to show where I am right now when it comes to how I want people to see or interact or feel with my art. Like, for whatever you guys are feeling right now when you're watching me do all of this, I don't know, keep that in your little memory bank if you want to continue watching what I do in the future. It's something I really like. It's simple-ish. I made it kind of simple because I knew if I got too much into the details, it would look bad. The brushes that I was using earlier, I should have said this earlier, but I'm usually sort of a one-take voiceoverist. I do not have a script, in case you cannot tell, but the brushes that I were using in the beginning of this when I was painting it physically, they're very, very soft. They're very good for like big swaths of color, as you saw, and I think that fits really well with this because it's just somewhat okay. So my boyfriend, my significant other, was telling me when I showed them this painting that I have a sort of child illustration style of painting. I don't know if I've told you this before. This sounds like I'm a deja vu repeat of something, but I don't hate that idea. Children's illustrations and stories is probably not what I'm going to go for in the future, but I don't necessarily hate the style of drawings that go with it, especially like Shel Silverstein. I'm not entirely sure if that was meant for children, but children seem to really love those poetry books. I did learn to read with them, so it kind of fits that the sketchy style is something that I went for when it comes to my art and how I like to express my ideas on paper, or in this case, computer digital pen software. But yeah, so I just wanted to say that on this first episode of Art Talk, and I wanted to remind you guys that I already said this would be on sale on my Etsy shop, but I have some sticker concepts that I'm working on, and hopefully by the end of the month I can have those sticker packs available on Redbubble. They're not going to be anything dragon or fantasy. I can show you guys maybe next week what they're going to look like. I just want to let you guys know in the future, look out for those too. I have a Patreon if you guys want to help support me and make this my full-time artistry. And I just wanted to thank you guys for being here and supporting my channel and watching until the end. I really hope you guys have a fantastic day and a wonderful life, and I will see all of you next time.